Hi everyone, it's me, C Lefty Run with part 2 of my video. So part 1, I just covered everything leading up to the race. Part 2, this is all about race day. So race day, my bus left the Commons at 8:15, Boston Common. So, which was kind of, yeah, there's pros and cons to that. I got a good night's sleep. I slept 8 hours. I never do that before a race. Normally my races start at like 6 a.m. And, I got to get on a bus at like 3 a.m. So you're not getting a lot of sleep before a race like that. But this one, I got a full 8 hours of sleep. In fact, I slept really well all leading up to the race, which is not typical for me, especially being on the East Coast. Thank you, my gummies. So boarded the bus. My bus got lost, you guys. And it was not raining at that point yet. So, but you could tell it was coming and it was cold. Like I had my throwaway clothes on. I had some old sweats, an old sweatshirt. I had an old jacket from one of my kids that they had outgrown. And I had a beanie and gloves that I wasn't wearing yet. So, no, I think I had the gloves on, but I didn't put the beanie on yet. So by the time we get on the bus, it goes to Hopkinton, and my bus got lost. It felt like we were on the bus forever. And I kept thinking, man, this is a long way. And that's always how it feels on a point-to-point course where you're driving to from the finish. And everyone on the bus was like, it's taking a really long time. And then someone was like, it didn't take this long last year. And like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. And I saw a sign that said, welcome to Hopkinton. And I was like, oh, okay, it's going to get off. And it just kept going. And I'm not going to question, who am I to question the driver? So then people started to, you can hear the murmurs and someone's like, you're like, where are you going, driver? And so the driver had to turn around. By this point, it was raining. And the driver actually dropped us off at the corrals instead of Athletes Village. So I didn't even get to like experience Athletes Village, which I'm not going to lie, I was kind of okay with because I'd rather sit on a bus and stay warm than stand out in the cold rain at Athletes Village. And also, from my understanding, the distance from Athletes Village to the corral is quite a ways. I think it's like a mile or so, maybe even longer. So I didn't have to walk all of that. And then when I did get dropped off at the corrals, there were a lot of porta potties there and not a lot of people. So I was able to like go to the bathroom and like, what else did I do? I did at that point take off my throwaway clothes, and I had a poncho on because it did start to rain. I had my poncho on. I took off my pants, my sweats, but I kept my sweatshirt on and my jacket on. And then I walked towards a gas station. So there was a gas station, and I stood, and no one was over by the gas station. There's maybe like 5 other runners, and I stood there until my corral started to load. So I stayed pretty dry until I started running. I don't know why more people weren't under the awning at the gas station, but it came in clutch to keep my shoes dry because it's always better when it starts raining when you've already started running as opposed to like starting to run and it's raining. So I got grocery bags and I tied those around my feet to keep my feet dry because I just didn't want to start the race with soaked feet. Who does? Nobody. So, like I said, my strategy for this race, I trained for a 3:35, right? And so, but I went into this knowing I have a qualifier, a really significant qualifier, like a 22-minute cushion for 2024. So my number one goal, and I told you this, was to enjoy the race. And I didn't want to run fast or go for my goal time at the risk of not enjoying the race. So that was forefront in my mind. I was really afraid of overdoing it and blowing up. I did not know what to expect in the town of Newton with those hills. And everyone advised me, don't go out too fast, save it for Newton. Like wait until you're done with Newton. And then if you're feeling good, push it. So I had that in the back of my mind the whole time. So when I started the race, it was raining. I had my gloves on. I had arm sleeves on. I was in shorts and a tank top. And I didn't feel cold. So as you know, I have a very specific feeling strategy. My plan was I took a caffeinated gel 15 minutes before. I took my first gel at mile 4. I took a caffeinated gel at mile 8. So anyway, so as the race started, it was very crowded at the beginning. It was hard to get, to kind of like get into your groove because it was so crowded. But I was okay with that because I was like, don't go out too fast. Don't go out too fast. Don't go out too fast. There is a very significant downhill at the beginning. Like it's pretty like rebel-ish in the beginning where you're like, whoa. And then, you know, it's pretty rolling. The whole course, in my opinion, is a rolling hill course. Like you're either going up or you're coming down. And that's like pretty much the whole way. I would say maybe you'd have a mile of pretty flat, maybe 3/4 of a mile that was flat, but you were either going up or going down. And I was okay with that. Like it was okay. So I did not look at my watch a lot. I really ran based on effort. I would occasionally check in with my watch. At one time, I remember seeing like 7:55, and I was like, whoa, girl, whoa, 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 pull it back, pull it back. And then I would see like 8:30s, you know? So I was just like, whatever. I feel okay. I feel good. Not okay. I feel good. And I'm going with, I just want to feel good. So, you know, my feeling strategy, I took a gel at mile 4. I took another gel. I took a caffeinated gel at mile 6 or mile 8. And then I was supposed to take a regular gel at mile 8, but I accidentally took another caffeinated gel. Oh no, mile 4, I took a regular. Mile 8, I took a caffeinated gel. Mile 12, I was supposed to take a regular gel, but I accidentally took another caffeinated gel. If you remember, I did that at Revel Big Bear too. And then I cramped a bit and I was like, oh crap, oh no. And I realized it as I was taking it. So then I like switched gels. I opened the regular one and I took half of the regular one and half of the caffeinated one and I put those away. I mean, it was just a mess. So then at mile 16, I was supposed to take my second caffeinated gel and I did the mix. I finished half of the caffeinated and the other half of the regular. And I was like, all right, you know, so that was mile 12. Mile 13, you get to Wellesley. And at mile 12, you can hear the screams of those girls. And the course support, it was just mile to mile of people out in, you know, outside of their houses, Sweet Caroline playing, and it's raining. And these people that don't know you are out there like cheering you on and yelling your name if they know what it is. And that was really cool. And just the energy of the runners was amazing because we all just felt so fortunate to be there because you are like, it's a tough course. I see why there's a qualifying requirement because I do think a lot of people would not finish or would just take a really long time because it's the toughest course I've ever ran on. And I've ran Big Sur, right? I ran New York. So Boston doesn't mess around with its course. And I was just really happy that I really did feel good the whole way. In every race photo, I've got like a huge smile on my face. I high-fived every girl at Wellesley. I was like, you know, one of the mantras I use on course, and I got this from Tommy Rivs, is when you get to like 13.2, you know, when you're beyond 13.1, I'm always like, oh my gosh, there's more behind than ahead. So literally, like when I got through Wellesley, I looked at people around me. I was like, oh my gosh, there's more behind than ahead. But crickets, like no one responded. I was like, why isn't anyone as happy as I am that we're already more than halfway through this thing? So, so mile 12, I had the weird gel mishaps. Then mile 16, I took another gel, a regular gel. And then I think anyway, then you get to the Newton Hills, right? And I hadn't seen my family yet. And I knew that they were going to be somewhere on the course. So I kept kind of looking for them. And as I get to the Newton Hills at mile 16, and in my opinion, not any different from the rest of the course. I wouldn't have even known about the darn Newton Hills unless everyone talked about it, because the only reason I was aware is because everyone talked about them. But in my opinion, it felt like everything else I had gone through. I was like, is this it? These are the Newton Hills? Why aren't we talking about the hills back there? What's so big about these hills? And everyone was like, it's where they are on the course. I'm like, the whole course is this way. So whatever. I don't know. So it's about, you start those at mile 16. It's like, welcome to the town of Newton. And you're like, crap. Okay. Hi, Newton. Here you are. And there's just a ton of people out cheering. And I think at mile 21 is where heartbreak starts and ends. And so that is where I saw my family. I saw them at mile 21. So I took a gel, and then I saw the big sign that said like Mrs. Moreno or something. And that was when I was like, oh my gosh, that's the sign that like some of my students made. So then I saw my husband and my kids, and they were so excited to see me, and I was so excited to see them. So I ran across, like gave them hugs and stuff, and I carried on my merry way. As I said, I took the gel at mile 20. I thought I had one more left at mile 23, and I didn't have a gel. I was like, how? I need to figure out something with these gels next time, like not stuffing them in my pocket. Like some people have these belts where you can put the gels like individually in the belt. That's what I need. So I had this issue at Revel. I had this issue this time. So I didn't have a gel at mile 23. And that kind of mentally, I was like, shit, excuse my language, but that's what I was like. And then I was looking for, I was like, they had Morton on the course starting at mile 11. And I feel like they had it like every 2 miles after. So I was like, I'm just going to grab a Morton. No, they had stopped giving out the Mortons. And had I studied the course map a little bit better, I would have known that. Like it wasn't like they ran out. It was part of the plan. But yeah. So I kept looking, no Mortons. And even as I passed the Morton tables, I thought to myself, you should grab one just in case. You should grab one just in case. And yeah, and I didn't do that. So I only had 5 gels instead of 6 gels. I totally messed that one up. And it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. I still felt pretty good in my mind. I'm like, you only have 3 miles left. You have a 5K. You're fine. You know, you're going to finish this. And that's exactly what I did. So the miles really ticked by. I didn't even really notice them. I kept forgetting, like, and I always forget what mile I'm on for Revel races too, but because they're such fast courses, the miles just come quicker. But for this, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm already at mile 22. Oh my gosh, am I at 23 or 24? Oh, I'm at 24. Oh my gosh, there's the sicko sign. Oh my gosh, I have 1 mile left. Like, I'm not even kidding. And they're just, once you get into the city of Boston, it's Boston Marathon, but very, very small portion of the race is actually in the city of Boston. So once you see that Sitco sign and you're just like jamming, you have a mile left from that sign and they let you know. And I'm glad, I've heard it was foggy, right? So I couldn't see it miles away, thank gosh. So I really didn't see it until I was like right under it. So that was a good thing, because some people are like, you feel like you're never going to get to the Sitco sign. It's like being in Las Vegas where you think the hotel's right there, but it's really much further away. So yeah, so I kept running, and then I saw the right on Hereford. I saw the sign for Hereford. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I made the right on Hereford and then the left on Boylston. And again, I had gotten, you know, listening to the course and stuff, everyone's like, it is 600 meters from Boylston to the finish. So everyone's like, it looks closer than it is. Don't blow it out. So I had that in the back of my mind too. I was like, I don't want to sprint yet. I just want to. So then I just ran it in, and, you know, it was just so great cheering, and everyone's cheering for you. And I was still high-fiving people. And I just really savored it and had a wonderful time. And I finished in 3:54:01. And now here's the thing I will tell you about Boston. So I finished that race, and I was like, I called my husband. He got stuck on the subway, he and the kids. it broke down. So they only saw me at one point on the course. However, they did see like Kipchoge. They saw all the elite women, all the elite men. My husband was like, I saw Nell Rojas, you know, like he was super, he's all into it now. So I'm glad that they got to see that. And then they got to see me at mile 21 at Heartbreak. Like that's kind of when I needed them. But here's the thing about Boston. So I finished in 3:54:01. And again, I really didn't look at my watch. I ran based on effort. And I get to the point where I'm not looking at my watch because I'm like, I don't have anything else to give. Like if I give more, I'm going to blow up. And so I'm going to keep it right here where I can still smile and still high five. And that was my goal. So I finished the race. I remember I talked to my husband. I was like, oh my gosh, I had the exact race I wanted. I had the experience that I wanted. I mean, it was fantastic. I got my medal. Look at my medal, you guys. Hallelujah. And then I have my nice shirt that I got from Marathon Sports, which is in the Boston documentary. Like the bomb went off right in front of their store. So it says right on here, Ford left on Boylston. I like the shirt because it's underwhelming, right? Unless you've ran Boston before, you don't realize it's a Boston Marathon. It doesn't scream Boston Marathon. So anywho, so I called my husband. I was like, I had the exact race that I wanted. He's like, we're stuck on the subway. I'll meet you back at the hotel. So I walked back to my hotel. Again, not far from the finish. And it was so sweet. The hotel was fabulous. When I got back, they had a line of the staff and they had the cheer things for you. And you ran, like I ran through and I was like, woo, and they're all cheering for you. Like they make a little finish line. And the concierge, so nice. His name was Anthony. We became friends and he was like, go through it again and I'm going to video record you. And I was like, okay. So I like reenacted it and did it again. You can see it on my Instagram. So that was really great. But here's the thing about Boston. So prior to using Luke Humphrey training plans, I never subbed 4, like never. And I did once at like a Revel City race. I ran it in 3:59:48. And that was just like a lucky day. But I was always like 4:10, 4:16, 4:45, 5. Like, and so for me, I was like, this was a really hard course. And I like, subbed 4 really well and feeling good. So I was like proud of that. And then you go and you see everyone else's times. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was one of the slowest ones. Like everyone else finished, like I trained for 3:30 and I ran in 3:28, and you're like, and then you start to like, and I just have to remind myself, like, you didn't go out for time. You went to enjoy it. Like, so get over it. You can have joy and a good time though. But so I had to get over that a little bit. It's like you get to sometimes where you feel like it's never good enough. I'm sure there's elites that like, I was listening to Running Rogue, whatever it's called, with Kara Goucher today. And they were talking about how the times have gotten so much faster. And like even Nell Rojas ran a PR at Boston and she's won it before and she still came in, I don't know what place, maybe 6th or something like that. No, it couldn't have been 6th, 7th, 8th, I don't know. But it was a PR for her. And in previous years, she's won. But this year, it wasn't even enough to become the first American. So the times are just getting faster. And even my husband was like, man, I've seen like most of your races. And I think he's missed 2, both the Rebel Big Bears he didn't go to. But he was like, there's always people hobbling and like really struggling. He goes, not at Boston, not at Boston. He goes, everyone is strong, and everyone looks good. And so you just have to kind of put that into perspective. Like, no, it's not that you're slow. It's that you're running with a bunch of people who also qualified. So the field is deep and they're strong and nothing is stopping those people. And so it is interesting to be in that environment. So anyway, I'm going to go back in 2024. if you qualified for Boston 2024, my advice to you is you better book your dang hotel and book it now. And you might be thinking, oh, but I don't know if I'll get in. Well, find a hotel that you can cancel if you don't get in. Because the Hyatt Regency Boston, where I stayed, they're charging $750 a night for a standard room. I had a 1-bedroom for $500 a night. $750 a room, because I was like, I loved it. The service was so good. That hotel is all about the marathon. They really make you feel special. I was just kind of blown away. I was like, I definitely want to stay here again. No, not staying there because they're $750 a room. So I booked somewhere else for next year already. So near the Commons. And it's like a nicer, like I could stay, I think the Four Seasons is like $750, or for Ritz is maybe $850. I'm like, okay, Hyatt Regency, like I really enjoyed my stay here, but if I'm going to pay that much, I'm going to the Ritz or I'm going to the Four Seasons. Like, come on now. So, and I even checked. I was like, is this a typo? Hyatt Regency Boston? They're like, no. Anyway, so book now. And then, if you don't get in, then you cancel. But do that. Try to find the deals early. That's my advice to you. What else? I think, I did see Kofuzi. I didn't get a picture or anything. I like him, but I wasn't gonna be like, hey, so did I see anyone else? Told you I saw Kira, Nell, Tommy Runs, the Believe in the Run crew, Megan Featherstone. Anyway, I saw the panel. I told you about all that. So really great time, really great race, life-changing. Highly recommend it. Spend the money. It is expensive, but worth it. It's something I'll remember forever. And I thought I would be one and done in Boston, but I want to go back next year. So after this experience, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get back here. I got to get back here. So anyway, thank you for tuning in this time. My plan for moving forward is I'm going to take the tent. Luke Humphrey's like, you should take 10 days off. I'm doing that. I might do like the elliptical or something, but no running for 10 days. And last race, I didn't follow that advice and I paid for it, right? Like I went back too soon and then I started having hip issues and then it just led into all these other issues. So I am going to take the full 10 days and then I'm going to slowly get back into running. I need to get on some type of strength regimen without getting injured, because that is something I wasn't able to do this cycle. And by the way, post-race wasn't super sore. Was able to go, I had dinner after the race. This is fun. I had dinner after the race with Renata and the guy Jacob I told you about, who had the hell of a time with his bib and couldn't get there on time and still ran a 3:09. And that was really fun. So we met up for dinner. So yeah, so I need to get on some strength regimen, and I'm going to work over the summer on the 5 and the 10K and try to get my do speed through that. I have the Mesa Half Marathon in February, and then that will lead me into Boston. I think for Boston, I want to do, I'm going to stay with Luke Humphrey. I want to do a plan that's not as many weeks. As long as I keep my base up, I feel like 18 weeks is a bit long. I feel like I peak at around like 14 weeks. So if you remember Big Bear, I think I did 12 weeks and I had just come off a 6-week like speed plan and like I killed it at Rebel Big Bear. So I do think the shorter 14-week plan, 12-week plan is probably better for me. So that is my plan as of now. And if I have like things to do, videos I think I want to do, or maybe I'll do a series when I do my 5 and 10K. I'd like to get my 10K down to about 45 minutes. I haven't ran a 5K in like years, so I'd have to do a 5K to see where I'm at and then go from there. So I really appreciate you tuning in. I love the running community. It's a great way for us to connect, and no one gets it the way that other runners do. So for that, that's kind of why I do this, because it's no one else cares. You know, Boston, everyone's like, you ran the marathon. Oh my gosh. And then I get back to where I did go to work on Thursday. I took a day off and they're like, oh, you ran the marathon. I was at the district, but it was like crickets, you know? So it's just so interesting how you get different. I was like, I just ran the marathon. Although the people at my work care, they all tuned in, by the way. My whole work, all the teachers, they all had it on their TV and they were all tracking me. So that was really sweet. And I told you, I think my assistant principal, she's from Boston and her dad used to work the race every year. So she was really into it. So that was awesome. And my family, like I got all their texts and they were watching. So anyway, if you get a chance to run Boston, run it. If you're trying to qualify, don't give up. You know, I always say it took me 15 years to qualify. So, you know, find the right plan, find the right race, and go from there. Anyway, thanks. Bye, everyone.